Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Modern Witch Mama podcast. So, I have been pretty absent on this podcast. I'm not going to lie, right? A lot of life events have been happening since the last time that I recorded one of these podcasts, but I just wanted to come back and do an episode before the end of 2025 or the end of 2024, sorry. And just to kind of pop in your earbuds and let you know that Modern Witch Mama will be coming back for regular episodes in 2025 that will most likely be, I haven't decided yet, but I think a bi-weekly status. So not every week, but you'll have a new episode bi-weekly about 2 times a month with new topics and content, and also more interviews from amazing, interesting, fabulous people on their own witchy and spiritual journeys. So, today's episode, I wanted to talk about balancing your energies in the 3D world and trying to elevate your energies 5D, right? So a lot of us are on this journey where we are living, working, being in this 3D earth plane. But if you've been around here at all a little while or been on your spiritual journey a little while, you realize that you are striving to be in elevated energies, right? You want to raise your vibration. You want to come from a place of that higher vibrational experience, because when you do that, everything in your life just improves on a massive level. And that has been my own personal experience with this, right? Every time that I rise up to work in those higher vibrational energies, and when I release the lower vibrational energies, and when I cut away all of the energies that do not serve me and my path moving forward, that is when I make the most progress in my 3D earth life. So, how do we do that? How do we do that as mothers, as spouses, as wives, as people who are in maybe traditional careers or jobs, and entrepreneurs, and as we are balancing out all of these roles in our life here on earth, how can we simultaneously balance all of those energies and get to where we want to go and ascend to where we want to go spiritually? So, for me personally, it has been a journey, right? It has always been a long unfolding journey to transmute through all of these different energies and these different up levels and these different every time a new level comes, there's always something else that pops to the surface to be dealt with, right? So for me, it has been number one, relying heavily on the support of different sort of both self-care, personal development, and spiritual development practices and practitioners that I've personally hired in my journey. So this year I've had the absolute pleasure of working with some of the smartest, brightest, most talented, most knowledgeable, amazing practitioners through all different areas, right? Reiki, hypnotherapy, business coaching, shamanic practices, and 5D sessions to elevate my energies, all of these different spiritual, personal development, and business coaching type programs and sessions that I have been a part of have contributed to me being able to hold the space for myself to go through all those up levels, not only Is it beautiful to be a part of a container or a space where someone's holding that space for you? But then you can go forth, and also you can take everything you've learned and sort of hold your own space for yourself, right? So, really, connecting with all of these beautiful practitioners has helped me balance my life between the 3D and the 5D. And not to mention like traditional therapy. Let's talk about that, right? We do have all these spiritual modalities and practices that can sometimes supercharge our results, but I will not dismiss the power of also adding in traditional talk therapy or traditional psychotherapy, especially if there are areas and concerns that you have been feeling like are just sitting weighing on you, kind of weighing like a weight on your chest, and you want to release them and you want to talk through them and you just want someone to listen and to understand. Because sometimes, what is lovely as all of us energetic practitioners in Reiki and everything, we are not trained in talk therapy, and sometimes it can be a little intense if a client comes and trauma dumps everything, right? So, not to say that you cannot deal with some of those things in energetic sessions, in Reiki, alternative healing modalities, and things like that, but I have found it to be a very valuable resource to get back into traditional therapy alongside all of the healing modalities that I participate in, right? So, another thing, so number two, I would say, how do we okay, so we're going through the day-to-day life and we're, doing the things. We're waking up the kids to go to school. We are packing their lunches. We're sending them off to school. We're dealing with all of these things in our everyday lives. And then boom, we run into a roadblock, right? We run into a roadblock. So I've run into countless roadblocks this year. How do I work through these roadblocks? By uh taking taking the situation out of the 3D earth, and just that frustrating experience sometimes when you're like, I don't know what to do. I'm stuck. I don't know what direction to go in next, and just being in that very frustrating space. How do we get out of that space, and how do we get into a space where all the solutions just flow to us, where all of the knowledge and the experience and the answers and the advice and the options are just like in front of us, right? Number one, making sure you do an intuitive practice almost every single day if you can, even if it's only 5 minutes. Making sure you're tapping into your intuition daily, because when you tap into your intuition, you come up with the solutions that are born of your higher self, that are born of your intuition. You're not dragging in all of these solutions from outside sources that might not be tapped in and tuned into your specific soul story. So that is number one. Number two, go even deeper. Work in the Akashic records to come up with solutions. And what do I mean by this? So, I've talked a little bit about Akashic records on this podcast, not a whole ton, but it is one of the ways that I help clients to come to solutions and come to next steps in their lives. They're making huge transitions and they want to know, okay, what is the direction? What's the next step? What's the next step? What do I need to know? I always say working in the Akashic records is so beautiful because you are literally tapping into a universal library of knowledge. You're tapping into a universal library of knowledge that just simply exist in the ethers, right? In the spiritual planes. You're tapping into this lifetimes, centuries, eon, like it just limitless amounts of knowledge that are in the Akashic records. So you can never go wrong with taking your 3D problems into the records, you're always going to get some type of answer, spiritual guidance, guidance for next steps. You're going to get intuitive nudges. You'll get signs, you'll get synchronicities. You might get a new spirit guide, angel, ancestor to help you along the way. I just love working in those Akashic sessions because it is unique to each client what they get out of them. So I would say, those two things are really, really paramount for you to be able to shift from a place of I'm sitting right here on earth right now and I have no freaking clue what to do, to now I feel like I can actually have some forward momentum, some fluid movement because I tapped into my intuition. I am working with my higher self. I went into the Akashic records and I now can see clearly, even if we can't see the whole path, right? Because no, this is not fortune telling. It's not sort of like, it's not like that old fortune teller you would see in old movies or something where you're looking and you can see every single part of your future. But you can get clues, you can get hints, you can get signs, synchronicities, you can get all kinds of information in the Akashic records that you would not be able to tap into had you just been sitting here at your desk or table or wherever you're sitting listening to this. Maybe you're in your car or doing laundry or something, whatever. But you would not be able to get this type of information just using your logical brain because we're not made to do that using our logical brain, right? We have to tap into those spiritual spaces, those etheric realms. We have to tap into those spaces in order to allow our intuition to see all of the possibilities that exist. And that is probably my favorite part of working in the Akashic records, just all of the possibilities that you get out of doing a session in there, right? So what else? When things get hard, right? Things get really hard. Sometimes we go through situations in life where we're like, I just don't know when this is going to get better. I don't know, I don't know how to handle this anymore. It's just getting too much for me. I just need a solution. Can't figure this out. Just feel stuck, feel depressed, feel anxious, feel all the things, right? So when that happens, what is the best thing that we can do? Take a deep breath first, right? Let's all take a deep breath right now. And after that, anchor ourselves into the earth, ground ourselves into Mama Earth, and just let ourselves feel that connection, just growing roots out of the bottoms of our feet all the way down into the Mama Earth. Holding that connection, really grounding ourselves, clearing out that energy that's telling us we don't have a solution or we can't figure it out, all the negative voices inside our minds that happen. And then releasing all of that and coming back to center. And now setting the intention. I'm going to tap into my higher self right now. I'm going to tap into my intuition right now to brainstorm solutions to this issue. And write down the first 3 things that come to your mind. Don't edit. Don't try to make sense of it. Don't try to be logical. Write down whatever is flowing out for you in the moment. And I want you to do this little practice anytime you feel like you're up against a brick wall and that you don't know and that you feel like you don't have a solution at all and that you've tried every angle and every single way and every solution and nothing is working. I always say tapping yourself back into connecting yourself back into the earth, grounding yourself with Mama Gaia, clearing out that excess energy, and then reconnecting to your higher self. That's going to work almost all of the time. If you do need help with learning how to better connect to your intuition, to connect to your higher self, please reach out. That is something that I love helping people with. So, and I just wanted to say, at the end of this year, I am reflecting and I am thinking about all of the situations that I've had to transmute through this past year, and all of the times I felt stuck, right? And what did I do in those moments? It's so important to have a practice to fall back onto, no matter what that is for you. It's so important to have a practice to fall back onto when you are coming up against those difficult those moments of stuckness, those moments that you just don't know what you're going to do, how you're going to move forward. It's always so important to have that practice lined up. So I want to invite everybody to really make it intentional. Set some intentional time aside for yourself this holiday season, or whenever you have a little pocket, a little moment to yourself. Write down your plan. What is your specific contingency plan? What is your spiritual maintenance plan? What are you going to do when you start hitting those difficult moments? And in the past, maybe you did things that weren't healthy. Maybe you would overeat, or maybe you would even have too many drinks, or maybe you would, just go into a negative spiral loop of anxiety and just not deal with anything, or suppress emotions, or whatever it is that you did in the past. Don't beat yourself up. We're all human, right? Don't beat yourself up for it, but make this plan so for moving forward, when you do hit up against these brick walls, these road bumps, these inevitable things that are going to come flying at you, because we are living in a crazy planet and things come flying at us all of the time. But if we have a plan to deal with them, if we have a plan to get ourselves over the humps, over the road bumps, if we have a plan to get ourselves to the other side of the hard times, of the difficult moments, then those difficult moments, they shrink in size, right? They do not become so massively overwhelming. It becomes more of a, I can deal with this. I'm resilient. I have the tools in my toolbox. I know how to, right? It becomes more of a, I got this. I am set up. I have set myself up to be able to figure this out. And I'm not bypassing it. I'm not shoving down the emotion. I'm not ignoring it, but I am pulling out the toolbox that I know works personally for me. And that toolbox is different for everybody, right? So I don't want to talk too long on this episode, but those are a few just of my thoughts as I am wrapping up the year of 2024. And just looking forward to just coming back to creating more episodes of this podcast, sharing with all of you, exciting things that are happening in my world and my life, including, so alongside this Modern Witch Mama brand, I have been building in the background a special project that I've released it a little bit in some of my spaces and Facebook group and things like that, but I am working on an indie publishing company called Unbound Publishing. So this is for authors that feel their voices have been previously unseen and unheard, and you really want to step up in 2025 and get your stories published. You want to get your voice heard. You want to share your story with the world because you know your story has the potential and the possibility to heal collectively, to heal people in the world, to heal people that read your book, read your story. So, Unbound Publishing is that indie publishing spot for authors that have had a dream to get a book published and you want to share and you're ready to share your story with the world. And it is for a host of diverse voices. We do not discriminate here. It is for all of those voices that either are previously turned away by traditional publishers, or maybe you have a story that you're just afraid and you're like, I don't know if a traditional publisher would even accept this story. Come to me, then I will have the resources for you to get you set up and get your book published and do all the things to help you move forward in your author's journey. And so I'm so excited about that. It's going to be a very exciting year, 2025 coming up, right? A lot of fun things happening. So if you have stuck around and in listening to this podcast, despite my little break, I know I hadn't published anything for a while. If you're still here and if you're listening, I appreciate you so, so much. And I look forward to coming back in 2025 with even more content for you, all around things, all things modern witch mama, all things witchy topics, spirituality, and diving into Akashic records, energy, healing, energetics, all of the fun stuff, right? So stick around and join me back here in 2025, and I can't wait to see you then. And happy holidays to everyone who celebrates. Merry Christmas, Happy Yule, Happy Winter Solstice, all of the other holidays that I'm missing, and a very happy new year to all of you as well. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Modern Witch Mama podcast. If you have liked what you have heard on this episode, I would love to invite you to subscribe on whichever app you are listening in on. That way, you'll be able to receive notifications when I release a new episode and be in the know for all of my exciting workshops, offerings, and classes coming up in 2025 and beyond. I am so grateful for all of you, and I wish you an amazing day.